Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you for coming along for the ride, and I can't see what's going on the screen over there, so let's get that started. All I got to do is open Studio Monitor, and then that should work. Okay, couple of things that you should know about. First and foremost, I have been under the weather the past couple of days, and so it has been, yesterday was rough. Evenings and nighttime are rough. This time during the day is okay. I've got some acetaminophen and some other things in me, so and lots of coffee. So the coffee is powering through. But yesterday about 2:30, I crashed and slept for an extra 3 hours. So that was a doozy. The good news is that, hang on here, let me go back to my stream is working, but for some reason I'm in the wrong place for. There we go. All right, so my brain is not as sharp as it normally is, and take that for whatever it's worth, because you may beg to differ that it's sharp at all. Fair enough, but not as sharp as I hoped it was. Okay, I'm just listening on my iPad because I have no idea where my phone is. Like I said, not feeling super sharp. It's probably downstairs. But all good. So I have been under the weather the past couple of days, and I'm just trying to kind of get back into the scheme of things. Truthfully, not much has happened on the garage front, because last week they kind of finished up like what they were going to do initially. There is still shingles that need to be put on, but they have to arrive, and I had a call into them yesterday as to what was going on with that, and I have not received any sort of answer about that. Oh yeah, we'll have somebody call you. So I got a call again this afternoon and say, I'm going to stay on the phone until you guys get me in touch with somebody that knows what is going on here, because that seems to be the only way to get the party started. So the shingles still need to go on, and the garage door needs to be installed, and a couple other things. Here in Tennessee, when it gets down to about 45 degrees, somewhere between 45 and 60, which is what the temperatures are right now, we have this huge population of Asian beetles, they look like ladybugs, but they're not. They're like a different breed, and they're an invasive species. And so on Monday, I was walking around the house, and I was hearing things hitting my window, which is just over here off camera. And I went over there, and there were these big red wasps that were like hitting the window. And then on the window were all these Asian beetle, ladybug type creatures. And I guess they were attacking them. And so this side of the house was heating up, and all those Asian beetles were hanging out on the side of my warm home. And I thought, that's not a good thing. I'm going to go outside and see how bad it is. Because in another life, you may not know this, but in another life, I was a bug control guy. I ran I say division, but it was really a department of one. I ran an insecticide portion of a company for a lawn fertilizer guy. So I know commercial insecticides pretty well. I was licensed for many years. And then I did that as a side job for many years as well. So I have those chemicals still, and I just do that here at my house. Well, I went into the garage, and inside the garage on the wall that was facing the sun was just tons of these ladybug-looking things, but they definitely are not ladybugs. They have a different pattern on their back. They look like ladybugs, but they're not. So I went in there and was like, oh, geez, I can't even get out of my garage without these things, without having to walk through a wall of these things. So I put my backpack on, because I have a Birchmeyer backpack that I use for insecticides, and that thing it's expensive, but it is the way to go, because it's all metal, very little plastic on it, unlike the Chapman backpacks and whatever, they're all plastic. Anyways, I sprayed the interior, then I went outside and I sprayed the exterior, which it was pretty busy out there, but wasn't, I've seen worse. But then I walked over to the new garage, and sure enough, they were all over that front of the garage as well, because that was the sunny side in the afternoon. So they were out again yesterday, and they'll probably be out again today, because it's going to be a beautiful day here in Middle Tennessee. Matter of fact, it's going to get up to a high of 68, which is perfect weather for all of those insects to invade here in the south. So in the north of the south. Anyway, all good. All right, thanks for jumping in the chat, boys. What's going on, Steven? Always a pleasure to see you. You're here pretty often, so thanks for coming along for the ride and enduring my story of disgusting bugs. And Angus, of course, welcome aboard. Good to see you again. Hopefully life is not too incredibly crazy, but, busy is not a bad thing. It's just like we tell my 11-year-old daughter, difficult or hard things in life are not bad things. They can just be challenges, and it's all good. Being busy can definitely be good. So hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Now, I'm going to put this, where's the RTA here? There we go. Whoops, nope. Do this. Okay. I just want to add that to my background. So today, I thought would be a fun little thought experiment. It has been 8 weeks since IBC. Whoa. It has been 8 weeks since IBC. And I thought, some companies made some promises, Bird Dog being one of them, about products that would be out in the wild when they were at IBC. So I want to do a follow-up on that and just see which products are actually real. Now, you might have also noticed that at NAB New York, many announcements were made again that were made at IBC, and mostly it's a chance for the guys on the American side to see what was announced for IBC the month before at NAB New York, for the guys on the American side to see what was announced at IBC. So there's that sort of dynamic going on in the market. But what's fascinating about my position right this moment is we're kind of in the market for a different PTZ camera. We have a couple of Sony PTZs, which are okay, but they're not. They're kind of at their maximum usability, and so I have two of them. They used to be mounted directly, next to each other, and we did a close shot and a further back shot. But the company that installed them, I'm not really too sure why they put them side by side, because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. When you're doing church stuff, you probably want one, if you have two cameras, you're probably going to want one that's dead on. That's going to be your primary camera all the time. That will be this shot, right? So a mid shot or a bust shot or something like that. That looks similar to what it is that I'm offering here today. But the secondary shot, you should have given some opportunities to, let's put this somewhere else that gives some context, or gives a secondary side shot or something like that gives some variety. But the way that the company who set it up for us before I ever got here, they recommended putting two PTZs side by side, which I thought was strange, and probably the only real logical, well, there's probably two reasons, to be honest with you, if I'm thinking on my feet here. The first reason is simplicity. They were going to we bought two cameras. They were going to run them to a platform. We'll mount them side by side, and then you can, move them, whatever. But it comes with a joystick, so it seemed weird to me that you would put them side by side. The other thought process was they're not production people. So they sell the camera, but they don't really know usability. They're not really thinking what the end product is going to look like. And so they just were like, we'll just put them next to each other. And the people that were at the soundstage before I got here were also not in the production world. They were just kind of doing it because demand. Like people wanted them to produce something. So they were trying their absolute best to produce something. And so if the installer doesn't have any experience about what makes something engaging content, and the people buying it don't have any tangible experience as to how do we do this to produce something, it makes total sense then why you would put two PTZs that have moving heads, pan-tilt zooms, right next to each other on the back wall. That's it is the pinnacle of it is the pinnacle of probably bad video. Excuse me. I definitely have a tickle in my throat, and I fully expect to lose all my energy this afternoon. So you're getting the best that I can offer here in this moment. So what I suspect is, yes, I'm a little under the weather. So what I suspect is going on there is neither group, hopefully, because this is the best case scenario, is the guys that bought the cameras didn't really know what they wanted, and the guys that sold the cameras didn't really know what would be a good way to suggest how to do business, like how to make an engaging video. And so they just ended up next to each other. Now, the malicious side of it is, we want to sell you 2 cameras and a keyboard, but we want to sell you labor, but we don't really want to have to do anything. Like, we don't want to, we want to kind of be lazy. So they installed it side by side, which also kind of makes sense, because then you only have to run 2 Ethernet connections, power there to the cameras, plug them in, and then you can walk away and say, we installed 2 cameras and a keyboard. Unfortunately, that is a likely scenario. But you don't want to assume the worst. Good coffee today. And a lot of coffee today. There's a whole pot of it downstairs, so pretty excited that I just made another pot of coffee just to kind of keep me going. Now, something that's going on in I should catch up in the chat here. Angus says, yeah, hectic as ever. I don't remember the last time that I had a day off, but I drive home tomorrow night, and then I have a few days off in a row. Well done. Well deserved, I'm sure. Yeah, so anyway, we're in the market to kind of like round out this introduction that's going on far too long. We're in the market for a different PTZ. And if it's 1, if it's 2, I don't know. But we're in the market for a different PTZ. And so I'm kind of looking around. And right out of the gates, one of the things that I'm a little bit concerned about is I'm not hearing a whole lot from the typical players, especially in the pan-tilt zoom and DI world. I'm not really hearing a whole lot from, other than the companies themselves, making a lot of noise about NDI being a protocol on their cameras. It's not really, doesn't appear to me to be a massive selling point, which we're kind of watching this ebb and flow of NDI taking on whatever it is that it's going to be. So we're several years into this protocol, and I think it's hit its stride with HX3. So what is the future here? Like, there's only so much you can do with a camera. So other than the companies themselves, I'm not entirely sure. I don't even hear the distributors really even talking about the brands. And when I do, it's not the brands I expect. We can go into some of that in a second. There's certainly situations where 2 cameras next to each other is perfectly valid. My shows this week is 4 PTZs spaced around the room, each capturing a different view. 2 side by side would totally cripple us here. So that's, yeah. The issue though is, I really feel like a 30-minute conversation about sitting down and saying, what is it that you want to produce, would have, the PTZ side by side, that is, and maybe there was a conversation, I don't know, maybe there was a conversation, and the installer heard, we don't have anybody to run these, and so we don't want it to be complicated. And so function over usability won out. But unfortunately, the first thing that I would advocate in any sort of instance is, when I'm watching something online, I don't necessarily want to see somebody like way off in a distance and me just to have a context shot all the time. And so I don't mind going to that every now and then, but I honestly would like to be drawn into whatever it is that's happening on stage. Because when I'm in those, so I'm in a convention hall, sanctuary, classroom, whatever, my attention is fixated on whoever is up front anyway. And so I kind of lose, like as an audience member, I kind of lose the context after a while, and I'm focused in on what's going on. And so I could put a camera, way over on the other side of the bonus room and give you guys a context shot of me talking into the camera. But honestly, I don't. It's a secondary thing, and to drop a couple $1,000s on a secondary shot just doesn't. If you're only going to have 2 shots, doesn't really make a lot of sense why you would do that. Instead, unless you have 3 or 4 or 5 different angles, context should be an option, but should not be necessarily an all the time thing. Now those PTZs, Cam 4 in our rig is context only mostly. Sometimes I zoom in and whatever. Ooh, and I did a zoom in this week on our live stream. Let me see if I can find that, because just to try and like change it up a little bit, you know. Let me see if I can find it real quick while we continue to walk through this. So like, yes, I could see why there's a reason for it. It wasn't during that song. Is it this one? All right, I'll have to leave this up and watch it real quick just to. Maybe. Anyway, sorry, my brain is a little foggy, so you're going to get a very interesting live stream this week. Our context shots, though, I use what's called Cam 5, which is essentially a DSLR on a moving rig that has a wireless transmitter on it. And I've shown this before, basically giving a... Let me pull this up here. So yeah, so this is that Cam 5 where it moves a little bit. You can kind of see audience members. It kind of gives some context as to what's going on. I find that shot far more engaging than trying to do a fly on the wall situation, which let me see on the lesson if I ever go to that. Yeah. So here is oh, whoops. Come on. Now, this shot's kind of cool now because we have a camera in front of it. And so we go to this to show number 1 cam. And you can see what's going on the number 1 cam. But then this is number 1. So when we show this, Patrick speaking, and then it goes back to number 1, you can see that that's the shot we're about to go to. Right? He looks down. Boom. Cam 1. So that's kind of fun, I think, because it's a little bit like behind the scenes. And I've also heavily considered running a secondary channel for just people to see and to listen in to the technical side of things. So having like a production video going on simultaneously where people may not want to tune into the church service, but they want to see how it's being produced. Well, we could offer that as well. It goes a little bit outside of the mission of what it is that we do as a ministry, but still be kind of fun to offer that as an option. People can watch that after the fact, you know. So anyway, or during, I don't care. So for the seminary in New Jersey, I installed 2 P200s side by side, centered, and 1 off to the side. That scheme gives me great coverage, so it depends on the space. And again, I don't mind it, but if you're only going to have 2 shots, then don't make them identical. You know, it's like, well, we can zoom in. It's like, yes, but they're still relatively identical. If you're going to have multiples, if you're going to have 3, 4, and 5, okay, now put a couple of cameras back there. But quite honestly, you don't need a PTZ for an establishing shot. That's kind of a waste of money. I would just get a box camera or something and leave it just as is, and then, or get a PF 120 or whatever. I'm sure they're not super expensive anymore. An off to the side shot sure can be handy. In my theory of things, and that's purely all this is, but in my theory of production, that's more important. That secondary shot is more important. I'm sorry, that angled shot is more important than having establishing and close-up. If those are the only 2 you have, It's far more interesting to have a PTZ that's doing bust shot and then another camera off to the side that's doing a side shot, and then use the PTZ that's doing the bust shot to do a preset and make it do an establishing shot, and switch between the two. And that way it keeps it visually interesting, which is hilarious because I only have one camera for this entire show. And it is visually probably not that interesting to watch, more like to listen to. But if I'm going to produce something that I want to capture people's eyes and their ears, well, the minister is doing a great job of capturing their ears with the content. So now why is it interesting to watch? What am I putting on the screen that's causing people not to look at their phones and actively listen, but like engage with the content that's being produced? And so that's always That's a fun question to kind of wrestle with. I like the idea of a new 30 times bird dog camera, but not having SDI really detracts from its appeal. I agree. I was so excited to hear that 30 times was coming back to the bird dog line, but even just a 3G port, man, like, come on, give me something. I don't know. Again, it's probably just the OEM, the restrictions on them, but yeah, it was a bummer. The key to your statement is if you're only going to have 2 shots. Yes. The slight movement is really nice. I bought that same slider. Yeah, it's very handy to have. One issue that I'm having with it, and maybe you guys will have an idea as to what to do here. One issue that I'm having with it is when it gets to the right-hand side, the camera goes out of focus. But then when it goes to the extreme right, it goes back into focus. So there's like this spot where it goes out of focus, and then when it gets to the middle, it's in focus again, and it's in focus all the way to the left. I cannot figure out why it's changing focal lengths just for that one spot on the slider, and it's pretty consistent. So it just gets fuzzy, and I can't figure out what it is. Honestly, what I need to do is get a better camera on there. The DSLR again has been great. I would love to sell the PTZs, sell the DSLRs. Oh no, that's not true. It's not a DSLR. It is a pocket. It's a pocket camera, and that one I want. But I still have this issue, and maybe I could find a spot where we are panning, like where we're moving. Where is it? Go. All right, well, it's got to be during this song then. Just a matter of where in the song it is. So let's have a look here. Okay, so it is probably middle of the slider right here. Okay, so I actively avoid that section on the slider, which really limits me to where I can use it. Sometimes we throw Patrick up there when he's talking. It's just such a great extra shot. There we go. It's just such a good extra shot. Because look, okay, so here. The banners are perfectly. This is a good example. The banners are like really crisp, and we're using peaking on this, and so I'm able to see it, but just there's certain spots on the slider where it goes out of focus, and Patrick's fuzzy. He's not super clean, but the banners are super clean. And then if I continue to let it go, then his focus tightens up. Well, that's all the way to the right. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. Seems that maybe I have the wrong camera up there. Maybe I have the wrong lens. I don't know. I probably have the wrong lens. It's not an amazing lens, but yeah. And I keep feeling like I'm going to have a great cough, and then it's really weak. So anyways, so we're in the market for, I keep coming back to this phrase. So we're in the market for a new PTZ, and I really want to be amazed by something. And nothing has really convinced me to pay the price that they're asking for. And there's a couple of disappointments that I have. I'll just say with the PTZ market in general, but I'm really looking for a high value, like quality to cost ratio, something that's a no brainer. If we're going to drop a couple $1,000s on a camera, I want it to greatly exceed the specs expectation that I have. But there's not really anything out there right now that I feel like is hands down an unbelievable, bang for your buck type of situation. And I've looked at the PTZ Optics stuff. I've looked at Bird Dog. I've looked at Canon. I've looked at Panasonic, but not seriously. I don't know. I just don't feel like there's anything in the market that I feel like, like if I was going to get a camera, that would be the one. Which really sucks because I kind of want to have, that experience. So let me go here and see if I can find. Do we still? I want to know, like, when were these things announced? So I'm gonna go IBC 2025, and I'm gonna say Bird Dog Tech preps for IBC with a new camera. They unveiled a new lineup of PTZs, including the X130, the XL Ultra, and the 04 models. Okay, so first we're gonna start with the X130. And I'm going to go over to, I'll just go to the Broadfield website. Now, it's been 8 weeks, right? So they announced it and said in 6 weeks it's coming out. So hopefully these are out now. The X1. So the X130 currently, the X130 there's 4 in stock in black and there's none in stock in white. Okay, at Broadfield. So that's their distributor. Quantity 4. The X130, and this is the one that doesn't have SDI. Which is a bummer, but I am configured for NDI at this point, so that's not the end of the world. The other one is the XL Ultra. The XL Ultra, let's just search for it instead. Okay, out of stock. So the X1 Ultra does not appear to be available. And just benefit of the doubt here, let's go over to B&H Photo and just see if it's more on the way or if it's new product arriving soon. So XL Ultra, the Bird Dog XL Ultra. And I can share the screen with you guys. So, new items, special order, expected mid-November. Okay. So, that's been delayed because I believe the expectation was 6 weeks, not... It's 8 weeks now, and it's early November. So, that would be 10 weeks, right? So, maybe... Was that the announcement? I don't remember. And then I go back here... because IBC was September 12th to 15th, and we said 6 weeks, which is kind of a funny joke these days. And their big one, their big outdoor one, which was going to replace the A200, was the 04. So Bird Dog 04. Let's go ahead and search. Currently out of stock at Broadfield. And the Bird Dog, is it 04 or 04? I guess it's 04. New item, special order, expected availability in a month is what B&H says. So I know that 04 was announced at IBC. There's a video showing it. So one of the cameras is out. And that's the X1, right? 30 times. The X1 30 times. And then what was announced at NAV New York So here, Video Guys, which is Broadfield, they announce 2020 big news for Connect, Mackie Live, and Studio Control. So there wasn't really much of a announcement at NAB New York. So that's fine. So that's a bummer. I mean, I guess we've missed the mark here. One of the questions I have, and I'll get back to the live chat in just a second. The Mackie Live is a $500 camera. That is... Does it have an Ethernet port on it? No. Okay. Well, that's a bummer. Because I want it. I want something with an Ethernet port. That's just a box camera, to be honest with you. That's what I want. The Mackie Ultra is $1,300. And that's far more than I want to pay. But does it have an Ethernet port? Hard to see here. Yes, so PoE. Okay. Still too much. I'd rather have a PTZ for $1,300, to be honest with you. Because that's what I really want. But if it was cheap, then that's what I would go with. So here it is. We're looking here. Okay, well, so the IBC announcements are late, and that sucks because I don't want them. I want them to deliver. I'm sure that there's some reason, but it's a bummer. I also don't see. I wonder if I say BirdDog / IBC 2025, is it still on their website? Sometimes it's still there. Nope. All right. Well, the other cameras that I've been looking at for this, honestly, is the Canon, and mostly because of the image control and the AI functionality that I witnessed available at NAB Las Vegas this past year. And I think it was the N300 that we were looking at, or maybe because the 300 or 350 or something like that. I don't know. That their names are not unique enough, to differentiate between them. But the N300, let me just type that in. Yeah. NDI-HX, 20 times zoom. This guy is a 4K camera. I would sell 2 PTZs to buy this one, mostly because I was very impressed with the AI functionality. It's a 4K sensor, and do I have to buy the NDI thing? What's included? Details. Yeah, the other catch here is with these sorts of cameras, you have to buy the NDI license sometimes, which is really annoying. But we already have SDI in that location, and so we could just go directly to 3G SDI without any issue, and that would be fine. But this camera basically hits all of the high points that I want, plus the tracking stuff was next level when I was there. Now, we also saw the 400 and the 700, and of course the 700 is very attractive, but it's like $8,000. So I'm not going to buy something that is that expensive, mostly because if I'm going to spend $8,000 on something, I'm going to get another 6K, entire rig for our production studio over that. So I wouldn't necessarily spend that much money on that one. Back to work. Have a great day. Angus, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. A PoE adapter is available for the Mackie Live. How's it going, UNU TV? Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for. It's been a while since I think I've seen your name pop up in the chat. It's always a pleasure. Um, okay, so I got to buy a PoE adapter for Mackie Live. Again, it's fine. It's just, let me look at it again. I want, nothing fulfills like all the things that I need, right? Like I feel like there's always trade-offs on something, and I want a much better, I want a 4K sensor, honestly. 1080 would be fine, but I'd like a 4K sensor if possible. I'd like it to be PoE. I'd like it to have an SDI port. I don't care about Wi-Fi. HX3 is fine for me. I have to decode it somehow, so that's going to be annoying. But if I have an SDI port on the back, I can use it right away and then worry about the NDI adaptability later. But anyway, so Mackie Live does not really even have any ports on the back of it. I assume PoE, if you plug it in, that's probably USB-C. So if you do a PoE adapter with USB-C, does that give you NDI back? Again, have to decode it somehow. But might be worth checking out. So we're going to go to NAB New York, or I'm sorry, NAB Vegas in April. And I have a laundry list of things that I want to look at this year because we've had a whole year almost to think about it. And it's already November, which means that we're less than half a year away from being there. And one of the PTZ questions is, what camera best fits this this unique situation that I have. The new release of the 30 times optical is $200 more for the X1. So there's X1 that's 20 times zoom, and then X1 that's 30 times zoom. And again, we could snip the Wi-Fi function off of this, honestly, and make it the same price as the 20, and I'm on board with you. But is this the one that doesn't have SDI on the back? Because that's such a weird thing to leave off. I would rather have SDI than HDMI, honestly. It's just me personally. But now this camera is available in stock today, right? Yeah. So again, though, no SDI. And then there's a 4K 12 times, but no SDI. Yeah, that's a bummer. X4 was, oh yeah, you got to be careful here because there's a Insta360. The X4 is a fair bit more, but this guy here was announced recently and doesn't have the Wi-Fi option, but has PoE. So we get NDI. We got one cable connection, but we have a 3G SDI. This is a 1080p lens. Is that what this is? 4K resolutions over NDI because there's only a 3G port for SDI. But again, when was this announced? This was announced at NAB New York, right? So they have till Christmas basically to get that one out. Interesting. I feel your pain. I won a Mackie Live in a contest. I can't beat free. It's true. You can't beat free. That's pretty fun. And kudos to them for giving something away for free because it really is a good tactic to create it's a good marketing tool to, not nickel and dime everything. Excuse me. Anyway, so yeah, Canon is the other option that I've been looking at because for $2,000, the N300, I believe, is the number one bestseller. It is the N300 is, yeah, okay, so it's $2,700, but it's a 4K lens and it has SDI out. So, you know, whoa, you can get a 1-inch sensor size. How much does that do? Whoa. Still though, that's the N500. I mean, that would be an amazing camera. But this, even this being a standard, their top seller right now, you can get it for $2,700. It's a $3,000 camera. Now, okay, let's be fair, right? For $3,000 with Bird Dog, what can I get? Sort by price, low to high. All right, $3,000. You can go X5 Ultra, which is 20 times. People are going to complain. But, okay, so what does the X5 Ultra have? Okay, so 12G SDI. Okay. And what size lens? It's a 4K lens, but it is a... Where's the lens size? There's got to be some tech specs here, right? Specs. Okay. 1/2.8. So pretty standard, honestly, anymore. 4K at 60. So that's saying something because, yeah, that's saying something. PoE Plus, HX3, no full bandwidth on this guy. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Interesting. So that might actually be a better option if it if it withstands if you were to put them side by side and they were able to kind of keep up with Canon. But the only review here, unfortunately, which is a verified buyer, just says, for the price point, I expected a lot more out of the lens. I wouldn't recommend it for broadcast productions. We had to return ours. But then he says image quality, but then he doesn't show an image. So, be more specific, man. Like, you can't just say poor image quality and then not, anyway. So the X5, I mean, we should look at, for $3,000, if I could somehow get it for $2,700 or less, then it kind of competes against the Canon N300. But currently it's $3,000, and that's their only camera at the $3,000 price range. It looks like right now. The one below it is, let's see here. So yeah, the camera below it is going to be the X4 Ultra 4K PTZ, and that's going to be $2,200. I'm just going to open that for fun. The Wi-Fi edition, which honestly, the lens is substantially smaller than on the X5, but then the next one above that is, the P4K, but I don't know if you would buy that anymore. So the next one above that is the P400, and then they don't really have a camera higher than that until you get to the OG, the 04 and all those. So, and those are twice the price. So, yeah, their range of cameras, honestly, if we were to just compare the X4E Ultra, the X4 Ultra, and then the X5. Let's have a little look here. So $2,000, $2,200, and $3,000. Okay. Sensor size substantially bigger. I don't know why that information's missing. Same Practically the same megapixels. No IR filter on this one. Autofocus, manual focus, electric rolling shutter versus mechanical or electric. Okay. Shutter speed's the same, evidently. Signal to noise ratio. This one's a little louder. Focal length. Oh, that's strange. This one can focus on a shorter distance, but can't go as far as the other. And then 20 times optical on all of them. So I need to see this guy, is what the X5. I need to see it before we make any. Oh, hang on. But the X5 video outputs, this one says SDI B and C, but the X5 does not. Yeah, it has. Yeah, it has SDI out. 12G SDI. So B&H needs to update their website because this is wrong. It's not just HDMI. It should be SDI. Should be listed here as well. Which doesn't surprise me too much, just because B&H isn't great about their quality control on their website. HX2, HX3, RTMP, RTSP. This is just HX3. Oh, but 265. Presets 128. That's interesting. No built-in microphone. No built-in speaker. Same PoE. Option PoE Plus. Power. Device needs 18 watts. Why aren't these the ones listed? I don't understand. Okay. So, honestly, you're paying probably for the sensor, is the difference here. And then, is this actually optical? 20 times optical? Max optical zoom. Is there any buffoonery about cropping the 4K sensor to do 20 times, 1080p? Because that is some serious buffoonery. But anyway, all right. So it's interesting. I think if I want to save $1,000, yeah, but the sensor is really important. So I don't know. All right. Let's what time is it? Okay, we're almost at an hour. I can feel my my body fading quickly here, so it doesn't really matter how much coffee I drink. I crash out at some point. So I hadn't looked before the show about what promises were made. I know that the Blackmagic didn't have anything to announce at IBC, which I thought was a little odd. But they also didn't have anything to announce at NAB as well, from what I could tell. So it's not odd, but quite frankly, I trust a company more that doesn't make announcements every show, that talks about, hey, we announced this at NAB Las Vegas, now it's real. And so I like that more, about focus on one show and then announce it there, and then at the other shows talk about why we should believe you at NAB Las Vegas, because now all the products are real. But instead you get, you kind of get these intermittent product launches, and it doesn't work amazingly well in the long run. From a consumer standpoint, it looks a little suspicious. So hopefully, Blackmagic doesn't have anything in here that we didn't know about before. I don't know of any other companies that announced anything at IBC or New York. So there's that. We are still heavily considering, by the way, doing green screen Ultimat stuff, but doing it with live backgrounds. I'm pretty excited about this. So I hope that this next year we'll start moving into this realm. And this is going to be a really fun project if I can get approved. The question I have for Blackmagic this next year is, what is the difference between the Ultimate 12 HD and the 4K version, other than the obvious resolution upgrade? Because it's almost 3 times the price. And I don't know if I need 3 times the price. I think I need it all in HD to start it out, and then we would upgrade later on if we wanted to go to 4K. But we're not streaming in 4K, and we have no plans to stream in 4K anytime soon. So, I'm not too sure what else I'm missing from the 4K side to do proper green screen. Other than the 4K option, I just don't get it. Okay, my focus and my ability to talk plainly and clearly is fading, and so I'm going to wrap it up here today. Hopefully, thanks first of all for coming along for the ride for whatever it was, and next time we will hopefully I'll be feeling a lot better, and we'll get into some more stuff. We're approaching the end of the year. Something interesting that's going on actually in my full-time job is we're doing a fully pre-recorded service this week, so I actually had to load that early because the guys that approve it are leaving town, and so I had to get all of that done early, get it all set up. So I've actually had a couple of days to be sick, which is convenient timing. I wasn't wanting to be sick, but it's convenient timing that I did get sick because I'm not trying to prep for Sunday. So instead, I'm working ahead and trying to get ahead of schedule, which has been really nice. But also, I've been able to revisit a couple of games that I haven't played in a really long time, so it's been fun to have some time to do that. And also get things in order for Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatever. So all that's coming up. And yeah, that's next. So looking forward to the rest of the year, and hopefully this has been worth your time. But we will definitely be back. The plan is to be back next week, and going into the rest of the year, there's a couple of things that we have kind of planned out in my full-time job and here at the house, but hoping to have things kind of, the garage build is almost done. Like I said, there's just a couple of things remaining, and I need to reach out to the builder to see what the plan is. I'm a little annoyed that I have to hound them so much, but evidently that is the nature of building things, is you have to hound them. So this is what things look like right this second, and I've cleaned up a little bit since then, but this is basically where we're at. We're waiting for we're waiting for the door to go on, waiting for, I've got to paint it, so who knows when that's going to happen. And then, waiting for the rest of the building to get built. So hopefully, probably won't be this week, probably be next week. And if the shingles ever show up, you might say, hey, John, wait, there are shingles right there. Yeah, those are the wrong color. My color is gray, and those are black. So it would definitely look wrong. So we're going to have them send me shingles that are proper color, and we'll go from there. But all good, all good. Hopefully more progress next week. I'll give you an update then. But take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And we will see you guys next week right here, same place. Oh, and hopefully I'll be streaming over to the Keystone AV Networks channel, which you have to wait like 30 days to get a YouTube channel, and then you got to wait 24 hours to enable live streaming, and yada, yada, yada. So hopefully by next week, I'll be streaming over there as well. And more on that next time. So we'll chat with you then. Take care. Bye, guys.